Geo-Force is one of those Earth manipulator, Captain Planet type characters that has a base form and has a giant avatar, Earth-like form of himself that he can turn into when he decides to amp himself up with Earth. Is something he seems to be able to do on his own. It seems to be something he can do on his own without outside help, so one could say it's a self-inflicted temporary power-up. Geo-Force is one of those characters where, of course, DC has different versions of him thanks to the Rebirth, pre-crisis, post-crisis type of thing, but even I gotta admit, in his newer type stuff, he doesn't have many appearances, like literally 17 appearances in all. So majority of this video, I'm gonna be going over his post-crisis era and earlier type stuff. You get what I'm saying? Believe it or not, Geo-Force has a super suit that has a radio inside of it like this. It's very handy. He still has the same powers and abilities no matter which continuity, if we're being honest though. I mean, when you're made out of Earth and can make the Earth form around you like an avatar, or make a giant mech out of rock or Earth, that's just scary. That's Geo-Force for you. All of the Earth is under his control. I mean, it's epic being a royal prince and being one of the first metahumans created outside of America's program. Oh, my bad. I mean, DC characters like Geo-Force, who's very strong. One could say he's DC's Captain Planet. When there was this particular country of Markovia that was invaded, there was a prince that was endowed with superpowers by science, by Dr. Helga Jason attempt to repel the sinister forces. He was aided by several other superheroes who later joined forces as the Outsiders. He has literally the abilities of Earth itself. These abilities include the power to increase or reduce the force of gravity, the power to propel blasts called lava blast, immense strength, heightened resistance, and increased endurance. This treatment usually gives these powers temporarily, though only blood members of the Markovian royal family may retain them permanently. Because once a non-member of the Markovian royal family has received these temporary powers, a second exposure to this treatment will be death. It's good to have a certain heritage because some people can get temporary power-ups. If you're of a certain heritage, you get the permanent power. That's the case when it comes to the character known as Geo-Force. He's one of those characters that get the power thanks to his royal bloodline and gets it permanently. The power of heritage, because of his many attributes to the planet Earth itself. If his abilities seem familiar, he's related to characters like Terra, who also have Earth-like abilities. You know, that same Terra that was in the Teen Titans animated show. He's such an earthly type character that contact with the Earth itself, if he's injured, it will heal him. Can survive in space for a little while. And his sister, when it comes to Earth kinetics, he has Terra's power. He's one of those characters where he's a prince, but his powers have literally grown over the years. They are literally of the Earth itself. All his other stats, even if they're not Earth-related, have continued to build and manifest themselves in surprising ways, along with his ability to harness gravity and manipulate all facets of Earth. We're talking about physical strength for Geo-Force. It's pretty much proven he's ridiculously strong, lifting up big bullcrap like this. One can say his strength mixed with his gravity manipulation allows him to lift up even heavier stuff, even though his strength is not his strong suit. Geo-Force should technically be planetary by default because he can use the Earth in almost any way he feels like it, even to swallow up an insider bat suit. He can open up fissures in the ground, have you drop in the ground, and then close it back up and seal you up like you, yeah. He can turn Black Lanterns into stone, yeah. He can increase his punching power by making his fist be surrounded by rock. Battling Black Lightning made a literal rock prison for him, like using the earth. He uses these rocks as shields when he's fighting Black Lightning too, so he has defense. His blast power is a beast because he can launch cars in the air by blasting the ground like that. He can technically fly him and his allies by picking up a large piece of the earth and then standing on it, then they can fly away together. I wasn't joking around when I said he can use the earth and rocks and etc. as a shield for protection. This can be used for getting deeper into the ground or burying out of something and etc. Kind of reminds you on some Green Lantern construct creation type stuff because he be making giant stone fists that are very large. You know you're strong when he can create constructs that can hold characters like Vixen, who I have a video about on the channel, a being that's connected to the red, a being that's kind of similar to Beast Boy. And you don't really want to see him have his full potential brought out. He can make constructs, or one could literally say he can make a giant avatar of himself that he has full control over to win a fight if he has to, because of true potential. He can control Earth to the point where he can contain large freaking explosions. Like, fighting Geo-Force is scary on Earth because you can be blitzing towards him like how Lightning is doing here, and then a giant pillar can come out of nowhere to hit you. Or he can just throw large boulders at you. Stuff like this is just a nuisance. He has the power to hold up a ceiling, he can blast apart the ground if he feels like, or he can hold back a mechanized suit if he also feels like it. And drilling through the Earth is actually considered lightweight to him. It's literally stated at will he can just drop a mountain on somebody. Along with other powerhouse people, which should concrete him even further. He's one of the few people that can keep the planet together with other beings that are also strong. It's stated all together they can rip a planet apart or in two. He's more than making rocks around his fist, containing blasts, or containing you. He can also, after becoming a giant avatar Earth entity like this, full potential being revealed, the tremors are felt in every corner of the globe. Narration says, the U.S. Geological Survey detected a slight shift in the Earth's axis, and in the country of origin, a rolling wave of earth and destruction tears through the sovereignty and erects a 100-foot wall along its border. Even when the earthquake stops, the country still trembles, the whole country. He could definitely level the planet if he felt like it. If you had your doubts, he definitely can do it. Check out this apparatus that Geo-Force is wearing, saying that these things could take enough juice to light up Manhattan. Despite the equipment overloading, the energy that was in this whatchamajig was overloading, something that can light up Manhattan. It exploded, and he just kind of ate all of that, something that could have lit up Manhattan. Energy projection, one could say that might as well be labeled his specialty. In this occasion, Superman just flying, minding his own business. Then he blasts Superman with his energy, obliterates a vampire, matching blast with the nuclear family. It's proving he can do his very own heat blast, because here you can see him melting guns into slag. Blast can blast away a large satellite. Tell me how this makes sense. When he's intangible, he can use gravity to make himself more solid. Bruh, how does that work? So he can counter intangibility beings, I guess, by, say if somebody's intangible, he can make them solid again by changing their gravity, I guess? He can even decrease the weight of object because of his many attributes to the planet Earth itself. He can be a nuisance and make gravity to where you can't really lift your guns because they're too heavy. To give you an idea of his strength, he's gotten entanglements with characters that are Spectre level like Eclipso and held his ground decently for a bit. You can see him literally bite a gun and spits the pieces out with extra force like that. Characters like Clayface that are technically super strong try to hit him and he stops it with his raw physicals. Even though Clayface is way bigger, size doesn't necessarily matter. When it comes to destructive capacity, I would say his physicals is not like the thing he specializes in, but he does break out of some vines here. But I will say his earth manipulation type stuff is where he really gets destructive and really shows off his destructive potential or capacity. But at the same time, he's not afraid to straight up two-punch you out if he needs to just put hands on you, if it needs to be done. I mean, he did do this to Mammoth, characters that are pretty decently strong themselves, and he still can hit you that hard. Sometimes he might go into one-punch man mode. So yeah, strength is not his specialty, but he can one-strike you depending on the circumstances. You know that guy Caliban, one of Darkseid's sons, he has stuck him and damaged him with his striking power. Entanglements with Green Lanterns to really show that he's kind of in the powerhouse-esque range because he's able to do stuff like breaking Green Lantern constructs like Kyle Rayner. Manhunter androids, y'all gotta go somewhere. Can punch and damage beings like Olympian deities like even Achilles. You can see that he's even gotten entanglements with a legit Olympian and related to Zeus. Legit related to Zeus, an Olympian. He is his war killer. And you can see the panels speak for themselves. The gap in power must not be that big if Geo-Force can hang with gods like this in a continuous battle, lifting all this heavy stuff during the battle, to slam it on top of them. The artist actually took the time to draw all of this, letting you know that it's some heavy difficulty, and Geo-Force isn't just lightweight, even to an Olympian deity. When it comes to the hierarchy of power in DC Comics, we've already seen him fight Green Lanterns, fighting a deity, just kind of concretes how strong he is. And even though people don't consider battle feats flashy, look at all this destructive capacity he's producing. I would say this one in particular is definitely flashy. His blast power and energy projective destructive capacity can easily level buildings, obviously. And during the early comics, he's gotten in entanglements with Supes. The Man of Steel, look at his facial expression after he strikes him. How do you disrespect Geo-Force's power? After all of this, trading blows to some degree. This is definitely respect for sure. But this particular panel does imply that Superman still has the advantage over him in raw power in general, though, even though Geo-Force is still strong. But this punch looks like some discomfort for Superman's eyes. This looks like discomfort on his face too. And this also looks like discomfort on Superman's face. Looking a little dizzy, but Superman did snap out of it though. Even though I will admit some of these strikes where Superman was off guard. So some of these strikes were definitely sucker hits, but not all the hits. Geo-Force even apparently used his powers to kind of get the edge over him by decreasing gravity manipulation on Superman to his home world during these early days of comics and stuff. But yeah, it does seem like Superman still had the advantage by a decent degree though. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. When it comes to bullets, bulletproof, cutting him is hard to do. Needles have major issues piercing his skin. He took a couple decent hits from Superman too. He was one of the characters that was teaming up against Black Adam. He got kicked by him. Green Lanterns like Kyle, he's taken attacks from, got little scuffles with. Eradicator attacks. He got hit by a character that be fighting Spectre like Eclipso, like I already showed you. This OMAC powerful being was squeezing him, and he was able to withstand such bullcrap. He does good against beings that have hacks against him, like draining his strength. Despite beings having hexes, or one could say equalizer against him, he does a good job hanging in there regardless of the weakness they might have against him. And It makes sense when he takes hits from Olympians like Achilles, like I already showed you, them going back and forth trading blows. You get an idea of his powers, how he's in scans with the Eradicator, getting attacks from beings that are damaging Eradicator. On missions such as this, he's still hanging in there regardless of it. Yeah, his body is very durable, getting hit by Shaggy Man here. He can withstand lethal amounts of radiation, so one can say he has high radiation resistance. Of course, he can stand in lava because he's earthly. He's constantly withstanding blasts from Green Lantern tiers. Same with Doomsday, who's channeling Eradicator's power. Not only is he battling Black Lightning, but he can take massive, strong attacks from characters like Black Lightning. Same with electric shocks from characters like Black Lightning. Being frozen solid, he can bounce back afterwards. Oh yeah, by the way, he can fly, increasing the gravity's drag by half, by 2, boom. Can use gravity manipulation to contain gases that are about to explode. He can use his gravity to land a plane. There's different ways he can use the earth to make him fly. He can just fly with straight up gravity manipulation or use lava as propulsion effect, combining with no gravity power, enabling him to fly. Like, he has a lot of options when it comes to this aspect. If you're not strong enough, he can use gravity to incapacitate certain beings to the point where they literally can't stand up, or to the point where his blast power, gravity manipulation even melts an OMAC up. Yeah, it gets that bad. He can increase the gravity by a factor of 10. One could say he can use the gravity like telekinesis to lift up heavy stuff by making it super light and making it heavy again. What is he, Graviton or something? He's done this multiple times where he increased the gravity where people can't stand up. Or he can increase the gravity by 20. I swear Goku and Vegeta would love to train with this guy when it comes to this gravity. It's implied that he has ridiculous super speed when it comes to moving. As a bare bones minimum, we know he can go at least Mach 1 plus when it comes to his raw flight speed, because he can keep up with fighter jets or just cruise alongside the Batwing. There's even times where he uses his flight speed in combat to kind of do a blitz type of attack. He's fast enough to move in combat and swerve around bullets. Notice how they say he's too swift and overall speed. He doesn't really have moments that really give us clear measurements of his speed, but he's fast enough. One can say it's a reaction time feat of how he can stop bullets with his gravity manipulation. Yeah, he has his ways of defense blocking stuff here. Like, one could say he can literally make force fields. Let's just say he can produce force fields, or he just stopped darts mid-flight, you know? One can say he has a form of telekinesis, right? Geo-Force and Rebirth. I will admit, in newer stuff, his durability seems to be a kind of trash compared to his post-crisis. Like, if he doesn't actually have the earth protecting his skin, yeah, it's evident. His durability is a bit different, but all of that aside, but when it seems he's on guard when it comes to his Geo type of abilities, he seems still to be a force to be reckoned with. For example, manhandling super soldier tiers for one. He can still make things that are way bigger than buildings, even in newer stuff. He has this kind of power. Well, one can say these constructs are like mountain-sized. He can shield himself, and he technically always has a projectile because there's earth everywhere. But yeah, he just lacks showings, but it's kind of the same power set. It doesn't really seem to be that much different, if you know what I mean. He still can do the standard stuff like producing fire or lava when he so wishes. So basically, no matter which era, he's still a beast, and he should technically be a planet buster because, you know, he can devastate the planet and use different elements like gravity, fire, lava. He's definitely a character where I would definitely consider him a powerhouse. He just lacks showings. It would have been dope if we would have seen him actually fight Wonder Woman, but he has fought Wonder Woman type-esque beings like Achilles and stuff like that in the same lore, Greek lore. It's proven that he could devastate the earth with his different modes he can do, amping himself up with the earth itself. So is it really a temporary power-up if that's something he can do on his own, even though he doesn't do it often? This is the same guy that can create global earthquakes and has ginormous avatar states like this where he gets big as mountains if you wish to, making a giant avatar construct of Earth. But what do you guys think? How strong do you think Geoforce is? What do you guys think? Do you guys respect Geoforce? I hope you guys do. He's very powerful, and he's probably very underrated. Doesn't have that many showings in newer Rebirth stuff, but he should appear more, I would think. But I also got to shout out those that have donated to the channel. It helps out a lot, believe it or not. Respect Geoforce, though. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.